And on the individual surveys, we'll walk through the buttons pretty quick. And the first thing is this allows you to close your survey to all respondents, and that way they cannot respond to it anymore. And as you can see, it changes the status, so it is now closed. Conference feedback or selecting that survey would take you up and show you your survey. It either has to be open or in design mode in order to see that. And if you switch in design, I believe it goes ahead and opens it for you. So, and this is indicating that the survey is not live. We can click here to launch this survey, and once again it opens it. And let's see if we will have to adjust the dates. So we'll take care of that shortly. The date when the survey was created, so you can sort on that if you know when your survey was done. The design, you're going to spend a lot of time with this button. This allows you to actually go in and work on your survey, edit your questions, add instruction fields, and a variety of things. And we'll talk about that more in detail as we go ahead and create a survey. Let's go back to our home page. Options. Options really deal with the deployment of your survey. For example, here you have a the title of your survey, where you can go ahead and apply a template to your survey. This gives it the look and feel, what language that you would like everything to be presented in, what the status is, and the end date. The reason our survey was not working is because our end date ended in October, and we could change that and we'd be able to see our survey, and we'll show you more about that. How many responses when it was launched. Respondent access level. This will be an important decision. Do you want them to be able to log in? Do you want them to be able to do it multiple times? Is it anonymous? Is it not anonymous? Are you going to do paper copies and do a manual entry? So a lot of different choices. It's probably good to become familiar with those. Completion action. Once they get done with your survey, being able to go in and tell them, send them thank you, or have the capability of sending them to a URL where you have a web page, or maybe a web page that further describes your program. All those options. Other buttons that you can respond to. If you want them to be able to send responses, and this was when an individual responds to your survey, you can have that response forwarded to an email address. Navigation, how the back button is going to be displayed, cancel button, any hidden fields that you have. If you want to do IP validation, prevent spamming, or if you're sending it to a certain part of campus, it's possible to narrow it down by IP address. How you want your page numbering done. Display progress as a progress bar, or they have other options here. Show page numbers, page X of Y, or don't even display anything. How are you going to number the questions? You don't have to number the questions. The questions number automatically through the report, which is kind of nice. How you want to see the report format. Bar graphs, pie graphs, security, who's allowed to see the results of this. You can set it where it's all to public or just to the owners. And highlighting responses, a lot of different options to work through. And then finally, this is probably important for the surveys that we're doing in class, is you would have naturally your username placed in there. But if you wanted, for example, a professor in there, you would put their username. The important thing about this is do not include any spaces. Separate them by semicolons, but they will not be able to see them if there's a space in it. So once you're done, you go ahead and save that. Deploying your survey. This is different ways that you can deploy it. If you want to send it through that email list, you can click on the button and have it go through the email list. If you want to just send it through your own email to a distribution list you've created, you can just copy this URL, paste it into your email, and send it that way. If you want to include the link on a web page, you can go ahead and copy this, put it into the web page, and that'll allow you to do that. And then they have a pop-up survey invitation link. And to be honest, I've never played with this, but it basically pops up a window in. If you have this link on your web page, it'll pop it up into a separate window, allowing folks to take the survey. Analysis. This is where one of the ways. This is the quick, easy, cheap way of doing it to get a little bit of feedback from your survey, and you can look at this as the questions are coming in, and it pretty much gives you your question, your options, kind of shows you how many folks responded to it, total response percentage on that question, and if you assign points to this, it'll give you your average for that. And so you have that for all the questions that are of that type. And it's a quick, easy way of getting some information what you want. And if you have you can export the data, do a print overview, individual responses, so if you want to see what individually someone responded to that. There's also I had some written questions in here that were open questions, and so by clicking this, I can see what the responses are for that particular question and see what the feedback was for that. Then you have the option to delete, and that will do exactly that. It will delete the survey, so we're not going to mess with that. And then here is clear. This will clear the responses. And what this is useful is if you're working on a survey and you want to go ahead and you're playing with it, you're testing questions, you got friends checking it out, and then you're getting ready to launch it. You want to clear the survey, so then you send it out to all these folks and they respond, and you basically have a clean survey. The last item in here is managing your surveys. If you have a lot of surveys, and this is a great tool to use, you may want to kind of collect your surveys in a folder. And so you would have to assign those surveys to that folder, and surveys that are not in the folder. And we'll talk about that later. So that's it for kind of an overview on how this works. Next thing we'll do is start a new survey. So right now I am going to stop this portion.